For the good corporate counsel should understand clearly how his or her company works, because it's also depends on the culture of each corporate. For example, the startup, the culture of a startup is quite different from the culture of the
MNC.
MNC. And for the big corporation, it's another story. If a legal counsel work for the big corporation and follow the book, I think that he cannot survive.
So hello and welcome back, Stephen, to this podcast series. So we already did episode 1 where we talked about law and Tran, and today we're going to talk about corporate counsels. So just a brief background and introduction. So Stephen is actually a very experienced litigation and disputes lawyer. He has represented more than 50 global corporations and over 200 clients over different legal matters and disputes. So you also have the Corporate Counsels brand under the law and Tran umbrella. So today we were just going to find out a little bit more about that. Why corporate counsels and what are the different practice areas behind it?
I decided to establish the Corporate Counsel as a branch of Tran Trial Lawyers because I see that during the 10 years of doing the litigation works, my clients also question me about, hey, Stephen, do you do this kind of service for my corporate? For example, licensing, M&A, labor law compliance, something like that. I say, yes, we can have. Because along with the litigation, we also support the client with that kind of service. The reason why the client want to check us and work with us on that kind of service because that I have the experience at court and very few lawyers, non-litigation lawyers know about it. Because the knowledge you get from the book in the normal life is quite different from the knowledge you in a fight at the court. Because at the court, you will know how to play the evidence. You will know how the judge think and reason. You will know how the opposite lawyer reason and argue with you. So I can understand how the risk, where exactly the reticle risk. That's the reason why the client love to work with me, because they would like to listen the real experience at the court rather than just the advice from the book. Because in the end, what they need a lawyer is for the real risk, not
they're dealing with very real
risk and reticle risk. And so I see there is a market for the corporate counsel. So that's the reason why I want to keep Leonchun continue focus on the litigation. I don't want Leonchun to do full service and other kind of service not relevant to the litigation. But I cannot say we cannot do that, we cannot do this for the client, because if I say so, okay, we may lose the relationship with the client.
Because anyway, they have already established a working relationship with you.
So that's the reason why I think and I decided to establish the branch, another branch we call Corporate Counsel. Corporate Counsel focus on the corporate service, but not relevant to the litigation or dispute.
Okay, so I mean, you have already said that, litigation helps you to give you, a strategic mindset or helps you to deal with corporate clients. So what are the most common legal areas or legal needs that your clients come to you with? Is it like M&A, foreign investments?
There are 3 types of the legal service relating to the corporate. They often seek for my advice. The first is about corporate compliance and governance. The second is relating to the contract. Because I am the commercial litigators, I have much experience in the contractual dispute. So I know exactly where the risk is. And I can deliver the good advice and the good wrap up the contracts to the clients. And the third is relating to the labor compliance. As you know, that Vietnam is still the manufacturing market. It's not the service market like Singapore. So any company enter into the Vietnamese market, they start the business there, but in the end for the purpose of the manufacturing. And they have to sign the labor contract with many employees, even for the 1,000 employees. So labor issue, labor compliance is really critical to them.
Okay, so since it's really a very labor-intensive
Yeah.
sector, so any interesting cases to share with us, or like previous experiences?
Interesting case, how can I say, it's relating to the labor restructuring.
Okay,
In
that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the past, there was a client, they closed the business and they want to restructure and retrain the employees.
Okay.
But they face with some very tough employees. They does not want to, they want to fight against the company, challenge the company. And at that time, there's no legal route to retrain them. It's just a simple legal route.
Okay.
Under the new law, okay, you can retrain the employees for the economic reason. But there is no detailed guidelines. What is the economic reason? So I have to think about the precedents at the court.
Okay.
And I try to explain how the judge understand and interpret the economic reason as a reason to retrain the employee. And for that case, I cannot say whether we win or not, but the employees, they don't want to fight anymore. And
Okay, that's a win. Yeah, that's a win.
And they, go to the court, and the judge try to mediate the parties. And the judge also, based on our reasoning, our argument based on the precedents, in the end, suggest for the settlement, amicable settlement.
Okay.
And we close the dispute there. And we are the first law firm apply this tactic on the market.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's when you're dealing with labor issues, there's always a lot of emotions involved, right?
Yes.
And when it comes to lawyers, people think that, hey, you guys are black and white, and there's very little compassion per se. So how do you navigate these kind of cases where there's so much feelings, or so much emotions in play? And is that important to you, or what do you think?
Yeah, dealing with employees, particularly human beings, we have to deal with the emotion as well. But when you go to the court or you go to a legal dispute, you should not take it personally.
Okay.
In the end, you should understand the final purpose of the company.
Okay.
And you should understand what is the final concern of the employee. And based on that, you may consider for an amicable solution. We cannot blame the employees, and we should also not blame any person in the company.
Yeah.
We just pay on the facts.
Yeah.
What the concern and desire of each party. Okay, I represent for the company, but I should try to find out exactly what the employee wants.
Yes. So you also put yourself in the shoes of the employee.
Yeah, because in nature, the labor law of Vietnam is still very favorable for the employee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And some employees, if they are advised by the bad lawyers, they may go very far, and they don't know how to stop, and they may they given some the unreasonable and
very aggressive.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we should understand exactly what they want and try to find a way to talk, but not talk to them directly, because talk to them directly maybe make them more misunderstand. We try to explain some, for example, we may find a third channel, a third party like the mediator to discuss and to explain to the employee for their understanding why. Because if the company want to terminate an employee, it means that the company is not happy with him anymore.
Yeah.
And even if he stay at the company and continue to work for the company,
it's not going to work out, right?
Yeah. So in this situation, okay, there must be an end. And then that's the termination. But how to make the termination is reasonable for both party. That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
We concern about the people, but we don't take it personally.
Okay, so you have to, keep in mind what your client really wants.
Yeah.
And then you have to also reconcile it with, what works for the employee.
Yeah.
And then you are, managing everything.
This is not a game of who is right or who is wrong. This is the benefit settlement and make the air easy for both parties. The employees may blame the boss and the boss may blame the employee, but but in the end, we should consider what is the real goal.
Yes.
Okay, and
I look for the best
yes,
solution,
yeah, what's the
basically.
best solution is the win-win solution.
Okay.
And in the work scenario, if the party cannot talk anymore, okay, go to court.
Yep.
But that's the result nobody wants.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, you have been in this field for more than 10 years now. So, you have also hired and maybe fired, good lawyers. So, what makes a good corporate counsel to you?
Very difficult to answer. Okay, it's quite depend on the client, how the client feel. But for the good corporate counsel, should understand clearly how his or her company works, because it also depends on the culture of each corporate. For example, the startup, the culture of a startup is quite different from the culture of the
MNC.
MNC. And for the big corporation, it's another story. If a legal counsel work for the big corporation and follow the book, I think that he cannot survive.
Okay.
Because the business,
It's not enough, right?
Yeah, it's not enough, and the
Yeah.
business, because for the company, the business is ahead, and then they will check how's about to ensure that the compliance with the law. I think that if a lawyer can understand this point, he or she may be a good corporate counsel.
Okay.
But if a lawyer do not understand it, so I think that it needs time for her or him to learn more and to adapt more, because in the end of the day, you should look at the big picture, not look at the small corner. Okay, you must ensure that your organization running smoothly, don't cause any obstacle to all the department in the organization, satisfy the request of the boss, and ensure that you comply with the law. And more important, you have to keep your position safe as well. So
Many things to look out for.
I want to be straightforward. And I know many friends of mine, they are also the legal in-house counsel. I know how difficult they have to survive and struggle in the organization. But a good corporate counsel will know how to survive and how to develop. If you can develop, it means that you are a good corporate counsel. But that is the for in-house life. And for the external lawyer like us, we should also understand, okay, in the business, there are many legal risks.
Okay.
But should pay attention, what is the critical risk? Because you don't have enough time and the client don't have enough money to spend for you to advise on the risk. If they spend the money for you, and after that you just give them the risk that they see that is the normal.
They already know.
They already know.
Okay.
This is not the critical risk, so why they have to pay for you?
Okay.
So for the external lawyer, you are a good corporate counsel if you can see what is the critical risk. The critical risk is that is the dead point. If they don't do the advice you give, it means that they can meet something that very seriously damage to them. And I know that many young lawyers, they see everywhere, they always see the risk, and they make the risk seriously. It's more headache and more stress to the people working with them. So as the good external lawyer corporate counsel, you should know how to mitigate the risk, but focus on the critical risk to alert the client and the timing to avoid the risk. Because if you don't know the timing to avoid the risk and don't know how to give the right advice, even for the small step, it can cause a big risk to the client, and you can make the unnecessary big noise to their organization as well. So I see that many unnecessary advice given by the young lawyers and corporate counsel, even from the international law firm or the famous law firm, they make the thing seriously unnecessarily.
Okay.
But to see the critical risk, as I said to you, you must have the real experience. And where you can learn the real experience in a fight,
And that's in the courts.
Yes,
Okay.
the court.
Yeah.
If you have more opportunity to
Yeah.
work with the police, you can understand exactly what the police think. And you can learn from the police as well, because the police also know the law and they practice the law daily relating to the criminal law, and you can see the red line between the civil commercial transaction and when the issue become the criminal. And if you don't know when the timing and when an issue, a commercial or civil issue or administrative issue become
Becomes
the
a
criminal
criminal.
issue, so it's very difficult for you.
Okay.
You can make the big noise unnecessarily, and or you may ignore the risk.
And miss the main
Yeah,
point, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and miss the and make the big mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Okay. I was also curious, how important is it for foreign companies or multinational companies to hire local law firms or firms that have an international mindset as well as a local expertise like corporate counsels?
Okay,
Yeah.
simple but very necessary. Enlist competent. Multinational company, they need the good English speaking lawyers and understand, can write English well, understand English well. That's the first condition. And the second condition is about understand the culture of the company. If you don't understand the culture of the company, you should learn the information on the internet. You should check their background and all the things. How's about the history, any lawsuit against them in the past, any legal issue against them in the past, and how their reputation on the market. At least you have some knowledge about their culture. And when they know their culture, you know how they run. You adapt yourself to that culture and how they run, and you apply your experience to the right point in their organization. Yeah.
So why should someone hire corporate counsels over, for example, an international law firm when they come to Vietnam?
International law firm, they also have the Vietnamese lawyers.
Okay.
Okay, the reason why they select the local law firm, because I think that the most critical one is the fee. The fee of the local law firm is more reasonable than the international law firm. It's very difficult to say that expensive or not expensive, because it depends on the standard and the culture. For example, international law firm, their clients are often the international multinational corporate. They work together already in their own
other
country,
countries. Oh,
and
okay.
then they move their business to Vietnam. They also want to work with that law firm,
Yeah.
and if that law firm have the base in Vietnam, it's okay. But if there is no that kind of relationship,
Yep.
so I think the remaining thing is the cost, the fee. The fee of the local law firm is more reasonable than the international law firm. And furthermore, we separate ourselves from the market, because for the market, I know how many local law firms, they are also the good law firm on the corporate compliance and governance. But my team have the value from my experience from the litigation, and we have the good professional relationship with the court and the police and the authority in settlement of the dispute, criminal case, white collar crimes, and the commercial dispute. We understand exactly how they view and how they accept a legal issue. Okay, what's the critical point we can indicate? Yeah, under the corner of the police, under the corner of the judge, and so that we can apply that to advise the client.
And you already have a good relationship with all these different...
Professional relationship. Because you know that everything, if you do professional, you can exchange the knowledge. For example, if there's some point I don't understand, if the judge is my friends and we have some in the formal legal conference, legal exchange, dialogue, okay, we can exchange the point of view together, and we can learn each other and to see how they consider point of view about the legal issue and something like that.
Okay, so Stephen, looking ahead, right? So now that you've established a team, so what does it take for you to say, hey, my team is successful? How do you define success in the next few years?
So say in the next few years, it's not about the money. Because when you already have a strong team, you have a successful team, money will automatically come. But personally to me, a successful team who can manage their tasks daily without me, without the supervision from the higher position level, and who can take responsibility. Because when you take responsibility, you see your mistake.
Yeah.
You will know how to improve your mistake.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid of mistake, you try to ignore your mistake. This means that you don't want to improve yourself. Mistake is obvious and it's normal in any way, in anything. When you walk in, you will see the mistake. Mistake help us learning and grow. Learn from mistake and don't repeat the mistake. And try to create the better solution.
Okay.
And try to create to deliver the better result. Work more effectively. In the legal industry, some people say that it's boring because it's relating to the law and regulation, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think so.
I mean, law is a very you know, part of our lives, right?
Yeah. Depend on how you think. If you create in the work you do, you will see it very interesting. And you will feel it more effective, and you will do more better things for your daily working. So successful team to me basically is not afraid of mistake.
Okay, that's very nice. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of risks that you guys have to manage. So it can be scary sometimes. But if you know, as long as your team keeps growing and managing that, I think that's where you're going to say that, hey, you're proud of the team.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for your time. And thank you for this, episode.
Thanks,
and then, see you the next one.
Yeah, thanks.